Hey y'all, let's talk a bit about choosing colors for your project, specifically bead colors. All of these three have beads. These have silver lined gold. These have silver lined like a pale peachy pink. And these have metallic in two colors. This is like a blue purple and this is like a red purple. Beads come in basically every color under the sun, which is part of what makes them so fun. You can get them clear without a lining. These are going to be blue. These are going to be like a pink clear. You can get them silver lined. These are going to be gold silver lined. These are very similar to what I used in my frozen waterfall, but a different size. You can get a darker color with silver lining. And you can get them in a very solid color. They come in matte black. This is the bead worked on the edging here. This is the second bead from the Starlight Shawl. And these are from my local bead store. I don't know if you can see them, but they're silver lined and they're half transparent, half navy, which is just really fun. Beads come in just as many colors as yarn does. And it can be really, really helpful to swatch. I know that's like a dirty, evil word, but it can be really helpful to swatch just so you can say, I love the way the pink matches, and even though I thought the red purple would match really well, it doesn't. The pink and the gold are both great, but the gold pops more, just to get a sense of what you're looking for. This is the Raindrops on Roses, and the point of the beads here was really just to provide a finishing touch. I didn't want to use stitches to create that edge point, but I needed something to create a weight so it just wasn't like an empty chain space, and we used beads. So you can kind of see the way it drapes, and if you look at the pattern photos, it kind of just creates that point, but they're barely noticeable, and that was done on purpose. And in this instance, again, like the beads are used to shape the lace and to provide a point. So I went with something that was not super noticeable. With the Starlight, it was meant to be both to shape the lace. A little bit it helps shape the lace, but mostly it was just, depending on the angle you look at it, it adds a lot of color play on what's in absolutely gorgeous gray, but mostly a solid, semi-solid type color. And this way there's, a little bit of variation in the edging. It's a very dark yarn, and I went with dark beads that are not lined and beads that pick up the undertones of the gray. For the frozen waterfall, the beads are really an integral part of the pattern. They add a lot to the texture, and I wanted something that was going to be noticeable. So I went with the golds because you really see them. When you're trying to pick noticeable beads, partly it's going to be the colors that you pick. Partly you want to just make sure it matches. I think the blue matches better and looks better as a contrast. Partly you're going to want to look at the actual color of the beads. The gold is just a darker color than the pink. But also you can see how like a solid color will often show up better than a lined color. This is silver lined. But on the other hand, I don't have a swatch here, but when it's not lined at all, it really picks up the colors of the yarn and it just tints it a little bit. So if you want, for something like the frozen waterfall, if you want beads that are going to show up, you want to look for something that's either solid. You can look at metallic, you can look at matte, comes in like all sorts of colors, or you're going to want to pick something that's silver lined with a fairly dark outside. If you went with something like this, you just barely would see them at all, and then the texture would get lost.